He was, from the very beginning, he was editor-in-chief of the University of Chicago Law Review. He was a very gifted attorney in Chicago, doing some very important cases. So he was a man of multiple talents. And when he got to the bench, he sort of took off the politician's hat and he put on the judge's hat. And I think he was a pretty perfect D.C. Circuit judge because he understood backwards and forwards how government worked. He had seen it from the congressional side, and if you sort of figure that in the D.C. Circuit, a very large part of the caseload is about how agencies work and what Congress is doing, he had a kind of intuitive feel for that I learned an enormous amount from. And he was one of the world's great human beings. He was generous and warm and sort of open-hearted. And when it came time to, help his clerks get jobs, he picked up the phone. I am quite sure I would not have started teaching at the University of Chicago had he not helped me get that job. And that when I got tenure at the University of Chicago, and then he called me and said, come back and work for me again, because he had left his seat on the bench and moved to become counsel to President Clinton. And he said, come back and work for me in the counsel's office. So I did that, and I got an incredibly important experience in my own life in that way. So he's a person I feel endlessly grateful to, both in terms of just the way I learned from his judicial decision-making, and also the way I benefited from his willingness to go to bat for people.